Hello students, welcome to the new lecture, and in this lecture we are going to discuss about the chapter 7. This is known as revision. Okay, the question is why we are going to do the revision. The reason is tomorrow there will be a test. Okay, the test containing 20 questions. The 20 questions are there, all are multiple choice questions, and each and every question is going to carry the 3 marks. Okay, total so is equal to 60 marks will be for the question paper. Okay, so you have to attend all questions and you will get marks. Okay, and how you can know the marks? You can know the marks in the class. Tomorrow's class we are going to discuss the key paper. Okay, we are going to discuss the key paper. In the key paper we will discuss which question is correct, which option is correct for the particular question, and which question is wrong, why they are wrong. Everything we will discuss in the key paper. So by attending the key paper lecture, you can know how many marks you got. You can know how many marks you got and what mistakes you have done in the question. You can know in the key paper, or you can know by listening to the key paper lecture. Okay, so this is about exam, and we will discuss about ecosystem. Okay, we are going to discuss about the chapter 7. In the chapter 7, that is first one is the ecosystem. Ecosystem means what? Ecosystem means the study of environment, and also the different places, that is known as ecosystem. So in the ecosystem, before we discuss the ecosystem, first we have to discuss the habitat. Habitat means dwelling place where the organisms are going to live. For example, your colony is your dwelling place. Okay, your home is your dwelling place. So dwelling means the place. Okay, so habitat means the organisms where the organisms are going to live, and non-living things is also a part of the habitat. Okay, next is the ecology. Ecology means the study of relationship between the living things. Living things means all living organisms, whether it may be bacteria or unicellular, whether it may be bacteria or whether it may be animal. Okay, whether it may be animal like humans or anything. So all living organisms comes under the living aspect, and non-living things like soil, water, sunlight, etc. they are non-living things. Okay, so there is a scientist, he is known as A.G. Tansley, in the year 1935. So he coined the term ecology. Okay, and also he said that reducing terms, he used the reduction term, that is ecological system to the ecosystem. So both are same, ecological system or ecosystem, both are same. So coined by that scientist A.G. Tansley. Okay, so next is the discussion. In the discussion we are going to discuss some important things like ecosystem is made up of biotic and abiotic components. So what is biotic components? Biotic components means living things. Okay, living. Abiotic components means living things. Wait. Okay, fine. So biotic components. Okay, biotic components means living things. Okay, so abiotic means non-living things. Okay, non-living things are known as abiotic components. So here biotic components means living things which have the life. Example, plants, animals, microorganisms, etc. Abiotic means the living things that do not have life. Example, air, water, sunlight, etc. they all are abiotic components. Okay, next one is the interdependence among biotic components. That is nothing but what is relationship. So there is a feeding relationship between the plants and animals. The plants are going to produce food. Okay, the plants are going to produce the food material. So here what is happening, the animals are going to depend on the food. Okay, it means here the relationship is the feeding relationship. If there is no feeding relationship, there is no connection between the plants and animals. Okay, so here the sun is the main source. It means the sun is going to produce energy. This energy is taken by the plants. With the help of the sunlight, the plants are going to produce the food material. Okay, so this is about it. And animals do not get energy directly from the something. Okay, it means energy directly from the sun. So how they are getting? The animals are getting the energy from the plants only. It means plants are taking energy from the sun, and these plants are going to produce the food material. That food is nothing but energy. That energy is taken by the animals. Okay, so as a result the energy flows in the ecosystem. It means from the plants to animals. Okay, the energy is flowing. It means from the sun. Okay, from the sun to the plants, from the plant to the animals, the energy is flowing in this way. Okay, so hence it is acting as a food chain. Food chain is nothing but organisms are going to depend on one another. Okay, one organism is going to depend on another organism, again another organism, etc. Example, so from on the plants, grasshoppers. Okay, on the plants, grasshoppers are depending. On the grasshoppers, the frogs are depending. Okay, on the frogs, the snakes. On the frogs, the snakes are depending. On the snakes, okay, eagle is going to depend. So it means, can you see a chain like structure? Plants, grass, frogs, grasshoppers, frogs, snakes, eagles, etc. So it is looking like a chain. Hence, here is the main relationship is the food. Okay, here the main relationship is the feeding relationship or food. So hence, it is acting as a chain. It is known as a food chain. Okay. So next is the producers. What are producers? So producers are nothing but the organisms that are going to produce the food energy or food from the sunlight, that is known as producers. Here the sun, let us consider this is the sun. Sun is the main source of energy. From the sun, the sunlight is taken by the plants. From the sun, energy is taken by the plants, and the plants are going to produce the food material. With the help of the photosynthesis, they are going to produce the food material, and this food is taken by the animals. Okay, these by the animals. Here you can see two aspects like plants and animals. The plants are going to produce the food material, hence they are known as producers. Here the animals are going to consume the food material, hence they are known as consumers. Okay, so this is the difference between the producers and consumers. Next is the herbivores. Herbivores means what? Herbivores means animals. Okay, animals that depend on food material, plant material. Okay, the plant material, that is known as herbivores. Okay, herb is nothing but a small plants or grass, so that is known as herbs. The herbivore is nothing but eating. Okay, the animals that eat is known as herbivores. So they are going to depend on the plant material only. Okay, for the food and energy. So next the carnivores. Carnivores means the animals. Okay, animals that depend upon animals. Okay, that depend on other animals. So example, lion. Lion is a carnivore. It is going to eat another organisms like deer. It is going to eat the deers. It means these animals, they eat only the other animals. They are known as carnivores. Next is the decomposers. What is going to do the decomposers? These decomposers are going to decompose the plants and animals. They are going to decompose the plants and animals. They are known as decomposers. Means after the plant is dead or after the animal is dead, these bacteria, fungi, okay, viruses, etc., they are going to decompose the plant and animals. Hence they are known as decomposers. Okay. So next, the changes in the ecosystem. Changes means what? Something is going to change in the ecosystem. So that changes is going to show some kind of effect on the organisms. That is known as changes in the ecosystem. So organisms affect their environment to meet their needs. Okay. So they are going to do some kind of effect, okay, to the ecosystem or to the environment. That is known as changes in the ecosystem. Okay, some organisms show effect on other organisms. Example, reducing population by feeding. Okay, example, lion is there. Okay, lion is going to show some kind of effect on the deer population, deers. So if it is going to feed on the deers, what will happen? The deer population is going to decrease. Okay, it means to survive the lion, it has to eat the deers or rabbits or any organism. Hence, by eating such kind of thing, the population is going to decrease or population is going to maintain normally. Okay. So for the healthy ecosystem, the lions should be present and deers should be present, everything should be present, and there should be a feeding relationship. That is known as healthy ecosystem. What is meant by healthy ecosystem? All organisms should survive and there should be a proper food chain and there should be a proper feeding relationship. That is known as healthy ecosystem. Okay, this healthy ecosystem is going to maintain the balance. Maintaining the balance means what? For example, let us consider that 10 lions should be there. Okay, 10 lions should be there in the forest, and around 50 deers should be there, and so on. So such kind of maintaining of their population in the particular area, that is known as balance. Okay, so if the population of the lions decreases or if the population of the deers increases, what will happen? the balance is going to get disturbed. Balance is going to get disturbed. So it is not an healthy ecosystem. Okay, so sometimes the ecosystem may get destroyed by the natural calamities. There are few things: natural, okay, the natural or artificial, or natural or artificial calamities are there. Natural means, example, tsunami or floods, okay, or floods or earthquakes, etc. They are natural. Artificial is nothing but forest fires. Okay, some people will set the fire to the forest, that is known as artificial. So, or they are going to increase the pollution. They are going to increase the pollution. So these are artificial. So such kind of things, such kind of natural or artificial calamities, they are going to show the a deadly effect on the organisms. So for example, what will happen during the earthquakes? Most of the organisms in the forest are going to die. During the floods, most of the animals will run away and most of the animals is going to die. So it means these natural calamities is going to damage or going to destroy the organisms. Okay, so these are the natural and artificial calamities. So next is a type of ecosystem. What is type of ecosystem? So how many types are there? So different types of ecosystem are developed in different ways, which lead to the different types of ecosystem. Okay, there is a flow chart you can see in the flow chart in the textbook. So here they are going to all these different types of ecosystem is going to interact with physical environment, that is known as ecosystem. Whether it may be artificial, just now we have said different ecosystem, like whether it may be artificial, okay, artificial or natural, okay, artificial or natural ecosystem. For example, if you maintain a garden, in the garden there are some flowers, there are some plants and flowers, etc., and water is there, everything is there. So some butterflies, some organisms will come and live in that in your garden. So this is a natural, then it will become a natural ecosystem. Why? Because you are preparing, you are creating such kind of environment that is known as natural, that is known as artificial ecosystem. So next is natural. Natural means it is made and it is produced naturally, that is known as natural ecosystem. Example, forest. You cannot create a forest and you cannot create a ocean, okay, that is known as natural. It is made by the nature only. Okay, so they are going to, whether it may be natural or artificial ecosystem, the organisms are going to interact with each other, okay, with the physical environment called ecosystem. Okay, so next is mangroves ecosystem. What is mangroves? Mangroves are nothing but the forest that grow in the low depths of the water. For example, let us consider this is a land. On the land the plants are there, okay, on the land the plants are there. So what will happen? So the land is covered with some kind of water, okay, some kind of water, and here these plants are going to produce the roots out of the soil and out of the water, that is known as aerial roots, that we will discuss in the future classes. Okay, so these plants, as is what will happen here, the bacteria will grow, okay, fishes will grow, and all organisms are going to live in this area. Why? Because the plants are there, water is there, and soil is there, everything is there. So different organisms are going to live in this area. It is going to become a ecosystem. That system is known as mangroves ecosystem. The system is known as mangroves ecosystem. Okay, so they are going to produce a feeding. These ecosystem will provide food material. These ecosystems will provide some kind of food, some kind of shelter, etc. That is known as feed. That is going to produce all these things. Hence, it is going to become a breeding grounds. So what is a breeding? It means the fishes are going to come here and they are going to increase their population. They will reproduce and they will increase their population. Example, other aquatic organisms will come to this area and they increase their population. Why? Because here all conditions are perfect and all conditions are favorable. Hence, it is known as mangroves ecosystem. Okay, and here there is a mangrove that is known as Koringa Mangrove. It is named after the river situated to the south of Koringa, okay, Koringa river, which is near to the Visakhapatnam, okay, and near Kakinada. So there are about 5 lakh to 10 million marine species. Marine species are nothing but organisms which are going to live in the salt water. They are known as marine species. The species are diverse as high as 1,000 square kilometers or square meters in Indo-Pacific Ocean and so on. So this is about marine ecosystem. So next event will be the biotic components. What is biotic components? Biotic components means the organisms which have the life, that is known as biotic components. Example, plants is example, Next, plants, animals. Okay, animals are the example for the biotic components. Next, bacteria. The bacteria is also a biotic component, etc. So they are biotic components. In the biotic components, we can see the producers. What are the producers that will produce the food material? Okay, they are known as producers, or they will prepare the food material. They are known as producers. Example, mangroves are going to produce the food materials. Pyrogarite is a small green color structure that you see in the ponds or stagnant water. Next, Oscillatoria, Eulothrix, etc. These all are the organisms that are going to produce the food material. So next is the consumers. These organisms are going to eat the producers. Okay, these organisms like shrimps, crabs, protozoans, mussels, turtles, etc. These are the organisms that are going to feed on the producers. Hence, it is also a biotic component. Next one will be the decomposers. Decomposers, just now we have discussed. Decomposers means they are going to decompose. They are going to decompose. For example, if animal is died on the road, what will happen? After 1 or 2 days, that animal will produce a bad smell and its tissue will get damaged, and after 1 month or 2 months, that will completely gets mixed in the soil. So how this process is going to happen? So that animal is going to get decomposed by the decomposers. Okay, what are decomposers? These organisms like bacteria, okay, fungi, okay, etc. These all are the decomposers. They are going to damage, or they are going to decompose the animals. So in the same way, in the aquatic ecosystem also, biotic components are there, abiotic components are there. Both organisms, like whether it may be animal, whether it may be plant or anything, these decomposers are going to decompose, and they will mix their body into the soil of the ecosystem. Okay, so next is the desert ecosystem. Desert ecosystem is nothing but the ecosystem which is present in the desert. It is known as desert ecosystem. And if you compare, 17% of the land is occupied by the desert, and it is having 23 mm of the rainfall per year. Okay, there is a cup to measure the rainfall, how much rainfall is there. So there is a marking how much water is getting filled, they will measure. Okay, here there will be 23 mm of the rainfall in the desert. Okay, so this much rainfall is there, and organisms of the desert ecosystem is varied with so many adaptations. It means whatever the organisms, whether it may be camel, whether it may be snake, or whether it may be rat or anything, whatever the organisms are going to live in the desert, they are going to have the varied adaptations. It means they have so many adaptations. So many adaptations are there. They are going to live in the desert. Okay, desert ecosystem has producers, consumers, and decomposers. All these are present in the ecosystem. This is one of the reason we are calling it as ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Ecosystem should contain producers, consumers, decomposers. Everything should be there. Okay, that is known as decomposers. So coming to the producers of the desert, they are photosynthetic organisms. They are photosynthetic organisms means what? In the desert also there are some green plants. They are going to perform the photosynthesis, and they have the much variations. Variations mean the changes. Okay, the changes is known as variations. So these plants are modified variously into thorns, spines, succulent, etc. It means the organisms, the green plants which are going to present in the desert have some kind of modification. For example, let us say this is a plant. Okay, this is a plant in the land. Okay, normal near to your house or near in your school. This is a plant. Okay, it looks in this way. Okay, but in the desert, the plant will not be like this. The plant will be looks in this way. Okay, they looks in this way. Example, cactus. They have the small thorns like spines. Spines are there. Okay, they have the spines, etc. Okay. So this is about producers. Why? Because why they have such kind of adaptations? They have such kind of adaptations so that they have to live in that area, in the desert area. Okay. And succulent means their body is very, very mucus, and they are going to store a lot amount of water. Okay, so lower plants like mosses, blue-green algae, lichens, everything is there in the producers. Next is the consumers. Consumers means the animals that have xeric adaptations, like a rat or snake or a camel, what it may be. They are going to have xeric adaptation. Xeric adaptation means they are going to live in the low water conditions, and they are going to adapt themselves to live in the low water conditions. That is xeric adaptation. They are very few when compared to the grassland ecosystem or forest ecosystem. If you compare the forest and grassland, the number of organisms is less in the deserts. Okay, animals are generally insects, reptiles, birds, etc. They are present in the consumers of the desert. Okay, desert animals will have the morphological and physiological adaptations which enables them to live. Example, camel is going to live better in the ecosystem. Okay, so next one will be the decomposers. Decomposers means in the desert also decomposers are there. Okay, so these decomposers are going to decompose the dead organic matter, and the number of the decomposers are very less when compared to the land ecosystem of the forest. Why? Because why the number of decomposers are less in the desert? The reason is the animals are less. The animals are less in the desert. Okay, so the plants are less. So if the animals and the plants are less in the desert, the number of decomposers also less. Okay, this is only the reason. Okay, and the temperature is high. The temperature is high in the desert. Okay, there is less rainfall. As a result, these all conditions makes the decomposers to be in a lesser in the number. Okay, so decomposers are mostly thermophilic fungi. Thermophilic means they are going to love the temperature. Okay, that is known as thermophilic. So the thermophilic fungi means they live in the higher temperature. Okay, that is known as thermophilic fungi and thermophilic bacteria. Okay, the forest promotes valuable economic and also environmental services. Why? Because the forests are most important. So they are categorized into age, climate, soil, etc. Okay, that is about forest. While coming to the forest also going to have the producers. Okay, next consumers, decomposers, etc. Okay, so what are the consumers are present? If you compare, the forest has different types, like producers are there in the forest, trees are there, grasses are there, plants are there. Depending upon the type of these photosynthetic organisms, the forest is categorized. Okay, and in the forest the consumers are there. They are known as fauna. Fauna means these organisms that depend upon plants and animals, that is known as consumers. Example, elephant, lion, tigers, etc. They all are the consumers. They comes under the fauna. Fauna means animals. Okay, so again in these animals also it is categorized into herbivores. Herbivores means the animals that depends upon plants only or grass only, that is known as herbivores. Okay, so they are going to feed on the plant, while the carnivores are going to feed on the animals like lion, tiger, fox. They are going to feed on the other animals. Okay, for the energy. Okay, so next, the decomposers. Decomposers of the forest includes a wide variety of the microorganisms. They are going to feed on the dead organic matter, plants, animals, etc. Okay, they are going to decomposers. The decomposers are going to feed. They are going to feed on the plants, dead plants, and also dead animals. Okay, dead animals. Okay, so they are going to feed on the plants and animals that also they are dead. Okay, so they are going to mix the plants and animals into the soil. Okay, they are going to mix them into the soil. As a result, the soil becomes nutrient. Okay, it is going to become nutrient soil. So these nutrients are helpful for the other organisms to grow, like microorganisms or plants, etc. So this is about forest. The energy flow in the ecosystem. How the energy is flowing? The energy is flowing from the sun. Okay, the sun is going to produce the energy. The sun rays will fall on the plant. The plants are going to do the photosynthesis. Okay, the plant is going to perform the photosynthesis. So after performing the photosynthesis, the food material is produced. The food material is taken or eaten by the animals. Okay, the food material is eaten by the animals. Animals, like what are the animals? Like grasshoppers. Okay, like grasshoppers are eaten by the frogs. Okay, frogs are eaten by the snakes, and so on. So it means the energy flowing from the sun to the plants, to the grasshopper, to the frog, to the snake, to the eagle, etc. So it means, can you see the flow of energy in this way? Yes, the flow of energy is occurring in a stepwise or in the sequential manner. Hence, we are saying it as a flow of energy in the ecosystem. Okay, here the energy which is produced, the main source of energy is 57% of energy absorbed into atmosphere and remaining scattered into space. Okay, out of 100%, only 57% is absorbed into the environment. In that also 36% is used for expanding water and also heating of the water, and also making the water to evaporate into water vapor. So and also not only that, land heating also, and remaining 2% of the light is utilized for the photosynthesis. It means out of 100 percentage, okay, only 2% is going to received to the plants. So energy trapped by the plants is transferred into the ecosystem through the food chain and so on. It means from the sun it is transferred to the other organisms in the form of food chain. Okay, so next, the food chain consists of producers, herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, etc. Omnivores means the organisms that eat both meat, and also plant material. Okay, meat and also plant material. Example, human beings. Some human beings, they eat both meat and also plant material. Okay, so producers are green plants, photosynthetic organisms. Here the consumers are the herbivores, carnivores, and also omnivores. So carnivores feed on the other organisms, while the herbivores are going to depend upon the plants, and omnivores are going to depend upon both plants and animals. So this is about the revision of the chapter 7. Okay, and I hope this lecture is helpful to you. If you have any doubts or questions, feel free to post in the comment section, and we will answer to your questions. Okay, and tomorrow there will be a test, and after the test we will discuss the key paper tomorrow, and hence you can know your score, or you can know your marks. Okay, and what mistakes you have done, and so on. Everything will, you can know everything. Okay, and we will discuss the next topic tomorrow.